Welcome to this short video about the three main aspects of our life, or we could say the three levels or the three stages of our life. During my work as a trauma therapist and meditator, I discovered that basically we can divide our life in three main aspects. And I'm talking about the first part, which is mainly dominated by trauma imprints. So that means our system, our body, our mind is almost 100% involved and engaged in dealing with the trauma imprints from early childhood. So in this stage, almost all of our energy goes into self-regulation, into balancing our unbearable states which still remain in our body. And in that part, basically, the well-being and the energy goes down continuously. So as long as we don't find the precise information or a therapist who can help us, our state, our well-being, our life is going down continuously, because the body needs all the energy to stabilize itself and it has no energy for the actual life. And at one point our energy is exhausted. So we could, if we would draw it on a map or on a diagram, we could say it's a line continuously going downwards. So, and if we find the correct information, if we find a therapist who can help us to transform our suffering, our imprints, then actually life starts. So I would call the second stage life, from trauma to life. And what does that mean, life? Life means, in a sense, it means social interaction and energy exchange between us. This is what I call life. Because in the first part, when the system is dealing with trauma imprints, there is no real capacity for social engagement, for interaction, for relationship, because the body is completely involved in survival. So if the body is involved in survival and stress, it has no capacity for social interaction. Social interaction depends on certain brain regions that are only fully online if the body feels safe. And as long as we are dealing with the childhood trauma, especially developmental and attachment trauma, these areas are not really online. So the life begins when the body starts to feel safe if another person is close. This is where life starts. And then we really understand that there is another human, there are others, and we can deal with them in a way that we feel good, that the other one feels good. We can exchange our states. In fact, in the end, we call it relationship. So this is the part we could call life, and it's about changing things from bad experiences to good experiences, to do things that help us to arrange our life, that it's great and fun and nice, and yeah, to have a good life. That's this part. So the first part is about survival. The second part is about social interaction and beautiful experiences and beautiful circumstances. And as soon as we have lived our life totally, we come to the point that we realize it, and is that all? There must be something more. And this more appears if we start meditation. First, we start formal meditation, sitting in the morning for 1 hour in the crossed leg posture, not moving the body, and finally the state we call meditation, or the awareness, starts spreading all over our life. So we could say that an additional dimension becomes present, becomes available in our life. And this additional dimension is not affected by states. It is beyond experiences. It is about shifting from experiences, from forms, from objects, from subject, to the state of being. And this being is not affected by positive or negative experiences. And as soon as we realize that we are beyond suffering, beyond happiness, even beyond life and death, then the third aspect, the third level, which is actually not a level, it is outside any hierarchy, is transcending our life. So the third part I call transcendence or meditation, however we call it. It is that transcends our experiences. And if we are based in our being, if we are rooted in our being, then it doesn't matter so much what the experiences are, and it is not about changing things anymore. It is not about doing. It is about awareness and experiencing what is and letting go. And at the end, this leads to a total energy flow through the central channel, and we experience awareness being as such, with no distraction to other imprints, to ideas, to body sensations or emotions. This what we are is not an emotion, it is not a state, it is not a body sensation, and it is not mental movement. It is beyond all that. It is that in which all that appears. We could call it consciousness, we could call it awareness, we could call it love. It all means the same thing. And the reason why I do this video is that often we get confused with these areas, because the tendency is often to switch from a life which is completely overwhelmed by trauma imprints to transcend it. And this doesn't work. If you are traumatized and you start meditating with the idea that the traumatization disappears, this is an illusion, that this doesn't work. But we see many people who try that. And that's why I would like to explain these 3 states, because if we have this kind of map, we can clearly say find where we are. If you have no idea of relationship, if your life is completely suffering, or almost all suffering since childhood, then you deal with trauma imprints. If you have a great life and you are focused on changing things and trying to improve things and modifying and working on relationships, then you have arrived in the actual life. And if all this you have experienced and you perceive yourself as pure awareness, then you are on the 3rd level. So if you are traumatized, if you are in the first state, you have to do trauma therapy in order to begin life. You can't skip life. You cannot move from traumatization to enlightenment. at least for most people, this is not possible. So we do trauma therapy, then we live our life totally, and then we transcend it. And the other way around is as well. If we have reached the third state, it doesn't make sense to always go back to body work, to yoga, to changing things. It's more about meditation and emptiness and silence. So I hope with this small map you can clearly see where you are and what's to be done. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I will answer questions here on the internet so that everyone can benefit from it.